All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Multiverse Show episode 162, greatest show on Mondays. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot of stuff that's happened. Oh my god, so much that's happened the last little bit. So we're going to try to get through everything. There's quite a bit to go through. First, we're going to do our introductions for the evening. First off, we have the Caesar Cinema, Mr. James Wilson.
Hi everyone, I'm coming to you live from Rochester, Kent, the home of Charles Dickens, where he would definitely say it's been a tale of two cities in just about every city in North America and the rest of the world. It's been a time. Hey everyone.
Yep. And we also have the Deletion, Mr. Mike P. The Truth.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike. Thank you for joining us for another great episode of the Multiverse Show. As always, we have a great set of topics planned for everybody tonight, so let's get it started.
And we also got the White Wolf, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
We are coming at you once again to try and hopefully spread some joy, happiness, laughs, and good-natured insults towards each other.
That'd be a nice change of pace, wouldn't it? So, all right. So we got a bunch of stuff to cover, but first off, the immortal question we ask every single week: what have you guys been playing? Mike, what you been playing, sir? You've been gone for a bit. What's been occupying your time?
So I've been playing a little bit of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, some Dirt Rally 2, but mainly the game that I've been playing is Mafia 2 Definitive Edition. Really enjoyed it. I actually really like it, man. It's one of those games where, for whatever reason, it just escaped me last gen. Like, I never got around to playing it. But I'm really enjoying it. In a lot of ways, it's like your typical open world game, but I'm really enjoying the story, really enjoying the narrative and the characters. I'd say I'm about halfway through at this point, so I'll probably be finishing that up sometime this week. But yeah, man, that's basically what I've been playing.
Oh, nice. James, you get a chance to play anything?
I have actually. I'm only thanks to PS Plus. I've finally had a chance to play Call of Duty World War II. Which is a lot more my speed, because one of the first big Call of Duty games I played was Finest Hour, which is on the original PS2, and I really like the World War II setting anyway. And I'm having a really good time with the campaign. I love a war. That's going to be clipped, isn't it? I love war.
I love war.
I love the mode war in the multiplayer. I think it's really cool. I think they said we need to do the Overwatch thing, but not do the Overwatch thing. We're like, let's just have a big tank moving about. You got it. But it is very fun, and it lets people do things other than just shoot the man. You're trying to accomplish something. I think it's a better way to do multiplayer games. Personally, and the campaign is really good, especially the Liberator level. Do you guys know about this?
I don't remember the Liberator level. No, I don't remember the name.
It's the spy mission. Where you got to, in first person in real time, go and do a bunch of missions inside, pretending to be a German officer. And you got to remember things. So there's barely any shooting.
I remember that.
It's just it's so out of nowhere. It's like if Mad Max suddenly had a musical number, but it was amazing. It's really cool. So I'm having a great time with that. And I bought Red Dead Redemption, and I haven't played it.
Jeez, man, you've been enticed by free games.
It's good
because it was on sale, the special edition. The special edition was £25, which is about $40. And I booted up. It's downloaded on my system, and I haven't played it, and I feel awful. I keep trying to, and then I'm like, I can't do 4 hours. I can't do anything for solid for 4 hours right now, apart from apparently watch musical TV shows.
No, my thing is you'll be hooked on the game pretty much instantly. I think, Lisa, if you like Western movies, it opens up real strong for Western vibes. But then the rest of the game opens up too. I think you really like it. I think we've said this a lot already. So, anyway, Sam, what you been playing, sir?
So, in addition to continuing to play some Modern Warfare multiplayer, filling out the Battle Pass, I made it to rank 95 out of 100. Which not bad, not a bad place to end up. In addition, I just did a replay of Dishonored 2. For a project I've been working on. I needed to refresh myself with the world. And I mean, again, I haven't touched it, since a couple of months after it first came out, but my God, what a brilliant game. Again, just I am reminded so much of how much thought was put into everything, how good that style of game is, and how we need to protect Arcane and buy their stuff at all cost. Because it was so good. It was like going through it for the very first time. Seriously.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But yeah, and then beyond that, I've been continuing to make progress in Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which I'm also really, really loving. Beautiful game.
Nice. Yeah, alright. So for me, I have been alternating between the classic Fallout 76 as well as Red Dead Redemption Online. I will say, okay, I have enough time to come back and talk about Red Dead Redemption Online now. And I was very much in the camp of the economy is so garbage in Red Dead Online for whenever it first came out, because it really was garbage. It was basically unplayable because you didn't earn any money and there was no point in doing anything. At this point in the game, I think it's actually fair. They made some small tweaks to the economy, so you do earn an okay rate, but you still earn pretty crap pay in the short term. However, it is a lot more fun now because you have a variety of how to earn money, and they expect you to do all of them. If you do all the manners in terms of earning money, like getting collectibles, doing getting your collectibles back, doing moonshine missions, doing your trading stuff, you can earn a pretty good chunk of money in an hour. You can do some pretty cool stuff, and I think it's a lot of fun when you finally get all that unlocked and you see just how much you can do in that setting. Other than that, it's still pretty good. I'm doing the Fashionat event currently that's going on right now. Still trying to get my Old Man Winter mask. I want it so bad. That's the only thing I've wanted since last year's event. So I've been kind of grinding that pretty much the whole time. So anyway, so that kind of wraps up that one. So very briefly, I kind of want to go over some stuff that's going on currently, but let's do the movie corner, James, or rather TV corner this week.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it brief, but the basic thing, I've been watching a bunch of stuff, mostly accidentally musical-based stuff. So first of all, here's a mini review of High School Musical, the series on Disney+. It's Glee, but better, but also worse. And I will not go into detail about that show, but it is, if you enjoyed Glee for the silliness, then you will enjoy it. And if you liked High School Musical, it's got enough in it to entertain you, but it is quite stupid, but in like a way that's good for teenagers. Anyway, but the thing I really want to talk about is a TV show called Zoeys Extraordinary Playlist. Now, the setup is a programmer at a tech company goes for an MRI scan, and while she's there, an earthquake happens, and in that earthquake, all the music in Spotify or one of the streaming services gets plugged into her head. And now she can, hear the innermost feelings and thoughts of random people, but they're only expressed through, licensed song. So the best example would be in the first episode, she's walking around San Francisco and everyone is sort of having a mental trouble with themselves and need help, so they all do a choreographed dance to Help by the Beatles. Now, I agree that this sounds like it could just be Glee again, and this is just an excuse to do a jukebox musical. However, there's only 12 episodes. I think it's available on Hulu. In the US, it was on NBC originally, so I don't know how that's going to work with catching up. In the 12 episodes, it turned from being a really stereotypical normal show to being, and I mean this, the best musical TV show of all time. What it does with the format is a work of genius, because you're in the head of the main character, literally. When music starts playing, she will look around to be where is this music coming from? Who's going to be singing to me next? I don't want to be dealing with this. And sometimes she will try and ignore the music, but it will end up following her in different scenarios. So her boss is unsatisfied in her marriage, so she starts singing Satisfaction. by the Rolling Stones. And then Zoeys off in a different part of the city, and then it will, to Satisfaction will be start playing by a marching band going by to remind her, like, no, you have a duty to help these people because you know what they're actually feeling, even if they're lying to themselves. We all lie to ourselves and say we're okay, and we're not. And sometimes that feeling of we're not is expressed in the most heartfelt songs. The cast in it is great. Skylar Astin, who's in the Pitch Perfect movies, he was also in Spring Awakening. He plays like her best friend. Lauren Graham, who plays the mother in Gilmore Girls, plays her boss. Mary Steenburgen, legend of the industry, plays Zoe's mum and is heartbreakingly good at it. I could rant and rave about this show for ages. For those who don't like musicals, I would give it a chance anyway, because it's not Glee, which is an excuse to just fit as many songs as we can from any specific genre in this week, regardless of the story that we're telling. The songs, when they toe up, they're a joy because you never know what they're going to be. It could be anything. It could be The Boy Is Mine, or it could be Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. It's so varied. And sometimes they're always really interesting covers. The show ends with one of the greatest musical sequences in film and television history, which is a 6-minute unbroken camera shot version of American Pie by Don McLean. And like, you've had 12 episodes to build up every single person's motivations, dreams, wants, loves, faults, all of that, and they're all expressed within 90-second chunks for each of them in this song. It was perfect. I loved this show, and I really hope that a lot of people watch it. A second season has not been announced as of yet, mostly because of the big Rona. But the show's done very well in DVR and watching online and getting a worldwide viewership, as I watched it on Channel 4 in the UK. So yeah, Zoe's Extraordinary playlist. If you want something that will make you laugh and make you clap and make you burst into tears with sadness, then this is absolutely the show for you. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. All right.
Hell yeah. In terms of movie news, the Snyder Cut was announced, and I'm angry about it.
Oh my god, I can't. I've been wanting to talk about this since they announced it. Oh my god. So, okay, James, fill us in real quick. What is the Snyder Cut? What is this?
Oh, I hate it. Oh, okay. So the Snyder Cut. So Zack Snyder was. Everyone knows this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Zack Snyder was the director for Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and was supposed to be the director for Justice League. Unfortunately, due to a huge personal and family thing, I think his daughter killed herself, which is awful. He had to back away from the project, leaving Joss Whedon to finish it. Now, when the film came out, idiots, complained that Whedon had deliberately made the film terrible, or the studio had gone in and made it just their own special version, completely disregarding the vision of our beautiful, shiny boy Zack. And there is a secret version that Zack made weeks and months before it was released, and we're never going to see it because they hate him, and the man hates us. And then the Snyder Cut hashtag was born, released, the Snyder Cut movement started, and it was hell for everyone covering news at the time, because all we were doing was being bombarded with the question, when is the Snyder Cut coming? When is the Snyder Cut coming? Is it real? Where is it? Why can't we see it? And it's been literally 3 years of this, and I can't deal with it anymore. And just when I thought we were done, we were free, HBO Max announced that the Snyder Cut is coming to the service in 2021. I don't believe they gave a month. If they did, I think it's like July. Someone correct me on that.
I didn't look at the date.
I am looking at.
I basically looked at it, rolled my eyes, and went like, "Oh God, never mind."
A month has not been announced. They just say 2021. Now, along with that, okay. So first of all, the Snyder Cut doesn't fucking exist. What people are talking about is a thing called an assembly cut, which is what happens when you make a film and then you take literally everything that you've shot, whether the special effects are finished or not, and you make a version that is in the order that you shot it chronologically in the film. That is what existed, and that is the 4-hour thing that people keep talking about. It's 4 hours because it's literally everything that you shot and finished with massive air quotes around it. That is not a movie. It just isn't. And people saying that they want to see it, I would pay them to watch it and then tell me that it's an actual movie, because it isn't.
What's the difference between that and a director's cut, James? What's the difference?
I'll tell you what the difference is, and I'll use an example of Blade Runner as an example. Okay, so Blade Runner comes out in the 80s. It's good. People quite like it. Ridley Scott, in his own heart, thinks, I can do a better version. And so he takes the footage, some finished, some unfinished. He finishes the unfinished footage with the original actors and with new lines of dialogue, new music, and then makes the director's cut of Blade Runner. He's then not happy with that, and then makes the studio cut of Blade Runner. He then recuts it every few years until 2007, where he makes the final cut. That is a labor of love made by a filmmaker. Zack Snyder never publicly said that he wanted to make his own version of the film, or at least his private cut. So that is the difference between this and a director's cut, or an assembly cut and the director's cut, I should say.
Huh. That's interesting. That's what I didn't know.
Yeah, so an assembly cut is not a movie. That's like an assembly cut is like every single version, every single song that a band writes within 6 months being put onto a record, whether or not the whole album is good. It's like they could either have 10 amazing songs, or they could have 20 songs that are sort of okay. Like, yeah, you've got more, but it's not better.
Mm-hmm.
And also with this, HBO announced that it's going to be. Someone said that it's going to be anywhere between $20 to $30 million to finish this.
Oh boy!
and get it up to a standard that is ready to show people. Now, that's probably true. However, knowing anything about film production, especially in a situation like this, it's going to cost at least double that. There's also rumors that it's going to be released as like a 4 or 6 chapters into like a mini series, which I think would actually be very good. But the whole point is the Snyder Cut is now officially coming, and my problem with this is that we are living in the world of dangerous precedents when Sonic was changed because the fans didn't want it. Now, I will admit that it ended up well because the Sonic film was actually okay. I think if this continues and now fans can just bully people into giving them what they think they want, we're done for with like genuine creative vision going forward. Like we're completely done for. I'm furious that this exists, and I absolutely will not watch it. I'm just not going to. That is my position on the Snyder Cut. It was bad at first, and I refuse to believe that slightly re-edited scenes and maybe a different order and a slightly different soundtrack will make this terrible film any better. The script is still bad. The story is still bad.
Yeah. I mean, I look at the situation. Yes, I will say, at least with Justice League, sure. I mean, you definitely see an aspect of conflicting visions in there, where it's like, oh yeah, you definitely see that, and especially it's a tone problem. But
yes, there is that, and for what it's worth, if this is Zack Snyder going, I really wanted to do the thing that I really wanted to do, but I couldn't because of a family thing. And if this is his way of getting through that and moving past that, I genuinely couldn't be more happy for him. And I'm really happy that he gets to put out something that, if he publicly says this is what I'm really proud of, I'm over the moon for him. And I mean that. I'm still not going to watch it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, if I got 4 hours to kill, maybe.
And now people want the 4-hour version of Revenge of the Sith. Like, no, you don't. You don't want it. You want a better film. You don't want a longer film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What if HBO and Warner gave this this reported 30 million? What if they gave 5 directors, up and coming directors, $6 million each, and said, "Come back with 20 minutes of a movie, and that is completely original, and just see what happens." Forcing money to fix a broken thing is not going to work. I really don't like this.
There is one thing I want to say, though, that I do feel like it is part of the discussion that hasn't been brought up. Even though, James, I think you've done an amazing job breaking this down, there is one other aspect to it, and that is filming is not exactly easy right now. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but actual filming on productions is not supposed to resume until August at the earliest, and that's only for, like, 1 or 2 shows that I know of. Like, most are not being filmed right now. So this may be a situation where the studio felt, okay, fine, we have to give people something. We want them to have something in our service. We can spend that on CGI since that doesn't require filming per se. That being said, I still acknowledge what you're saying overall, and I do appreciate the breakdown because it is a messy situation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't know exactly about the rules where you are. I know in England, like, the filming is completely an absolute no because of a variety of reasons that I 100% don't have the time to get into now. But I think giving themselves the year of 2021 and not consigning themselves to a month is brilliant, because they could at minimum give themselves 18 months from now it comes out and it's still 2021. So, if it comes out in December next year and they've had time to maybe go and film some new stuff, that's different. If it is what it is reported now, is like, yeah, we're just using old footage and we're reassembling some stuff and we're adding new visual effects, maybe get the actors to record new additional dialogue remotely, I'm not up for that at all. In terms of other movie news, there's really not a lot. I just want to bring to attention very quickly. Who here has heard of the Alex Rider series of books?
Yes, Alex Rider. Yes, didn't they do the first one with Ewan McGregor as his uncle?
Yes, they made a film with 14 years ago of the first film, Stormbreaker, and for the past 4 or 5 years, there have been a bunch of talks from a bunch of companies trying to make a TV version of the Alex Rider series, because there are a bunch of really cool spy novels.
Yeah, Point Blank
about teenagers. They're really cool. And finally, next month, we're getting it. It's coming.
Oh my god!
And as far as I know, it's Amazon that are going to be releasing it.
Man.
So worldwide, yeah. For those of you who don't know, like, I would say watch Stormbreaker, because it is actually quite a good adaptation of the book, even though it just didn't do well worldwide. The Alex Rider series, they're really cool. For an example of like how cool they are, like thematically and like in design, Point Blank is the second film, and it's set in like a remote ski lodge or like mansion in the French Alps. And the description of like the building you're in is like, it was designed by a madman. None of the lines match up with any of the others. So like, you have a wall where every single corner is slightly different. Like, from a design point of view, I'm like, that's really cool, and I really hope they make it visually interesting in this film, in this TV series. I could talk about Alex Rider for ages. They came out right when I was getting into books, like in general, and spies are cool. Good lockdown reads, actually.
It's actually, the funny part is I remember reading the whole series, but I remember now I've actually gone and seen which James Bond movie is it? It's one with Lazenby. I can't remember. Actually, Point Blank.
Oh, Lazenby. Well, the only one he's on. What, the On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Yeah, it's actually really funny watching that after reading Point Blank, because I didn't know I had not seen that movie beforehand, because actually they're really close.
Yeah,
the kind of the same general plot, like, oh,
I mean, the most recent episode, the most recent installment in the series came out last month.
Oh my god, I didn't even know they're still writing the books.
Yeah, he's still, Anthony Horowitz, he's still writing them. Like, April of this year.
Man.
He was writing them once every year, and then like 2011, 2013, 2017, 2019, and 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out the Alex Rider series. I would. This is a recommend based on like the books are great. Give it a watch. I'm done with film and TV news. I'm done. Sorry, that took forever.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks and the Snyder Cut was announced. It's been a time.
All right. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. Well, I wouldn't say it's really different though. It's just we tend to do the same thing anytime something like this comes up. So Black Lives Matter is a movement that's been going on. If you've been living under a rock or outside of social media, one, I don't know how you got to this podcast then, if you didn't figure that out. Last week, well, actually a couple weeks ago at this point, we had the death of George Floyd, which it's honestly a very brutal video to watch. There's a policeman who has his knee on Floyd's neck, and for about 9 minutes you watch him basically plead for his life and then die. It started a lot of protests across the country. Largely, I would say the protests have been non-violent. However, riots have broken out. I want to make a very clear distinction. There is a difference between a protest and a riot. In this instance, the organized protests, the people who are organizing to come together to make a stand, are doing so in a form of a protest. There are people who are taking advantage of the situation and causing riots. In my town, I live in Greensboro, North Carolina. In my town, just for an example, there were organized protests on Saturday, and they were nonviolent. It was a good demonstration. They did block the interstate and got people's attention. Although still nonviolent, they did march downtown. The police intercepted that well. No violence was had. Went very well. However, there were individuals who did take advantage of the situation. We did find the Civil Rights Museum had been vandalized. People had broken the glass. At least at this time, we don't think anything was stolen, but people had thrown and broken the glass and shattered it. In the meantime, they've attacked the kitty cafe where cats are adopted. Actually, they went after buildings and businesses unrelated. Of course, police did get violent at that point with tear gas and such. But it's actually largely believed that most of that was out of town people who were coming through. But those are two different instances. The protests are not riots. I want to make sure that's clear. And my experience in my town is just a microcosm of really what's going on across the country. And even around the world. We're showing solidarity across the world over this death. And things need to change. It's not... And we were talking about this beforehand. Things feel different this time. It's not uncommon here in the United States, and I wish it was uncommon, that black men are killed by police, and largely in situations that are not confrontational. There's no reason for them to die. But this is something that is a major concern, and it's honestly very disturbing. I wish things were different, but unfortunately they're not. And it really is something that needs to be thought about. And we're going to talk about some of the topics later tonight in that same kind of vein. There's things we will discuss about it, but I wanted to just come out there and say Black Lives Matter. And no one's saying that all lives don't matter. Obviously all lives matter. But right now, black men and women are being unfairly targeted, and killed by symbols of authority in this country. And that needs to change. So right now, especially, Black Lives Matter. And I'm going to stop talking for a little bit.
Son, do you have anything to add? I'm heartbroken, but I'll never hurt as much as those who have lost family members. I'm upset, but I'm never going to cry as much as the sisters, brothers, sons, daughters, husbands, wives who no longer have a loved one. I don't have anything to say, and my voice on this issue is not one particularly worth listening to. All I can say is that if you're there, if you're struggling, I'm willing to reach out a hand and just say, hey, we're with you. That's all I know to say right now. That's all I can say. And I'm sorry.
We need change. Change is desperately needed in this country. And the onus right now is on our elected officials, regardless of political party, at the city level, at the state level, at the federal, nationwide level, to be a positive catalyst for change. Ivan, you hit the nail on the head. Things really do feel like they hit different now. With everything that the country's already going through with the COVID pandemic and this on top of it. You know, what happened with Ahmaud Arbery 3 weeks to a month ago, and recently what happened with George Floyd, these are the kind of things that really shake you to your core. And one of the things that I was saying before the podcast was, think of all of these incidents that occur in our communities where Black Americans are being targeted by the police solely based on the color of their skin and are being murdered for it, that we don't see. We saw what happened with George Floyd because of the advent of smartphones and social media and things like that. And that was horrifying, but think of what we don't see. A change is needed. We desperately need to change. This is a time where our country needs to come together. And like I said, the onus is on our elected officials to bring us together as a country, to bring us peace so that we could heal. Just echoing again what Ivan said earlier, yes, all lives matter, but right now there are serious issues with police brutality and inequality in our country. So I stand in solidarity with everybody during this movement in saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I'm not, as you can hear and know, I'm not from America. I don't live there. My sister is currently studying in New York, and while she's much more politically active than I am, is not protesting, only because at the risk of arrest she would be deported back to the UK. I can only speak from my personal experience. You know, I'm lucky to live in such a brilliant multicultural and multi-ethnicity city as London. You know, our mayor is of Islamic descent, but was raised in London. You know, Mayor Siddiq Khan. He's a massive advocate for racial equality, and everything similar to that. I was out protesting earlier today outside the US Embassy in London, alongside other people, other white people and black people, and you know, gay, straight. You know, we're all people. That's the thing. We're human beings, and we all deserve to be treated exactly the same. And that is my only position about it. You treat everyone exactly the same, because there is no reason to treat them differently, at least on first glance.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, we'll move on to other topics. And actually, speaking of all this, last week there was a bit of excitement that occurred. We finally heard from PlayStation and Sony about a PlayStation 5 event, largely considered to be a reveal event, at least in terms of the console. I don't recall there actually being any sort of confirmation of an actual, like, oh, we're going to show the console here, as much as it was more positioning. And please correct me if I'm wrong. The only thing they committed was they were going to show games. That's what they committed to.
Correct. They said that there was going to be a little over an hour of PS5 games shown, and that they wanted to focus on both first and third party games unannounced that were going to be at this event. They did not say if the console was going to be revealed. It certainly seems highly likely, and in fact, an excellent reporter at Bloomberg, whose name I'm very sorry escapes me right now. It's Takeshi, and I forget his last name. I'm very sorry about that. He has done some reporting behind the scenes on what Sony's strategy is with the PS5 and how they've had to adjust. And he says a reveal one way or another is imminent because mass production of the console is beginning, and they don't want the design to leak. They want to show it before someone could potentially leak it, and they don't have a lot of time left. So that's a very roundabout way of saying it was probably going to be shown here. It seems likely, but regardless.
Yeah. But yeah, they did not confirm it, but it was largely implied. And today, there was a lot of hype because actually Sony had taken out ad time. I've seen a recording of it. They showed a commercial for the event this Thursday on ESPN. Like, it was like, oh crap, this is real. Like, it's actually coming this time. It's like, oh man, this is going to be interesting. However, we got a cliff kick in the pants. Later today, PlayStation put out a statement saying they're canceling the event until further notice. Specifically citing, they didn't really specifically cite anything, just said it's not the right time for this sort of thing, which is true.
I could definitely see both. I could see both sides of it. On one hand, I do agree. I definitely see where they're coming from. It's really not the best time for it. You know, people are literally dying in the streets out there now. I mean, there's more productive conversations and things going on than video games. Video games are always going to be here, people. On the other hand, the argument that I've seen for some people, and I could see this side too, is that, you know, it's an opportunity for us to focus on something that'll take our mind off of what's going on. You know, my thought was maybe Sony could have used this as an opportunity to kind of bring people together in our community through gaming during this time. Like, I don't know, maybe set up something during a stream like, hey, we fully support the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, at this point during the stream, we're going to put up a link so you could donate. We're going to make a donation also, that kind of stuff. But I digress. I totally see why they did it, and I respect them for that decision. You know, nobody should have any kind of ill will towards Sony or PlayStation for this. And the people that are latching on to this, trying to turn this into a console war thing, you all should be ashamed of yourselves.
I agree. At least in terms of that, but I'll let you guys talk for a bit, because I've talked a lot. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm miffed that we're not going to see it, but like, we'll see it in a week. They'll just do it another day. It's fine. That we know the console exists, and you know it's just building more anticipation. Like, this is fine. We will be fine. And if you're really annoyed about this, in the nicest way, get a grip. But of course, it's not the right time to do the showing. Of course, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this really quickly. I do understand. I have some sympathy for the idea that, hey, we need games to bring us together. We need entertainment to distract us. I am certainly one who I can tell you that in the midst of all this, I am sinking into my media to enjoy it. My movies, my games, especially, you know, TV shows. Like, I get it. I do. But this is simply too fresh. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. Like, they're not going to delay this very long. To be clear, like this will not be delayed by a long period of time. It's just going to be delayed a week or two. I would say, just give them that. It's all right. It'll still be there. This is more important.
I don't know if it's going to be a week or two, dude. I think at the soonest it's got to be the end of the month.
Really? But like it's all ready to go. Like the video, the footage, like
No, I think a lot of it in terms of like when they announce it, I don't think it's gonna blow over in a week. And I'm a bit more skeptical,
that does
honestly.
make a point. That's true.
I'm very skeptical when it comes to corporate stuff. I said this on Twitter and I'll say it again. Corporations do not actually support social movements. They don't. Corporations aren't people. They don't have emotions. If they support something, it is because they believe it will increase the value of the brand and lead to better sales in the future. They don't do that sort of thing. They only make a call, not when they think it's right, just because they think it's the right thing to do for money. So, yes, it's nice to see Microsoft and Sony and stuff make all these like claims and appeals. It's nice to see, but guys, it doesn't mean anything. Corporations are not people. They don't have emotions. People have emotions. Employees have emotions. But companies are not people. So saying, like, a lot of people are like, oh yes, like, what was it? And especially just words without actions don't mean anything either. Like, it really doesn't. So like, oh, people say like, oh yeah, good company. Thank you for saying the right things. It's like, well, are they donating to the right causes? Are they actually doing anything? Well, no, but they say the right thing. Doesn't mean anything. So I don't know. I'm extremely skeptical when I see that sort of thing. I can't stand people believing that a corporation actually cares for individual people beyond the profit margin. I'm sorry, and it sounds terrible, but no. I just don't.
For more on topics like this, everyone should watch Lindsay Ellis's video about woke brands.
Yep. I love watching her channel too. So, anyway, anything else? Did you guys think this is a right call in the long run, or do you think they should have done? It might kind of teased a little earlier, saying, okay, it would have been nice to have the escapism, or do you think it would have been a better call, at least not in terms of the social movement, but just detaching in terms of a business stance? Do you think it was better for Sony to do this in this case and cancel it before they wait, or they should have done it now?
I think the fact that a lot of gaming, not all gaming, but a lot of gaming, and I'm not starting this debate again, but a lot of gaming is focused around violence in another way or another. You will know what I mean. You know I'm not part of the video games are bad because they're violent movement. But if you're gonna showcase a new console, there's probably gonna be some fighting, whether that be with a new Call of Duty game or footage from the new Assassin's Creed game, and just associating yourself with that at this time, it's not good optics. And so I completely understand it from a business perspective to be like, we don't want to be doing this kind of stuff right now. I completely get it, and it is the right call. I think everyone in this situation would make the same call.
Mm-hmm. The rest of you?
That's right. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, it is the right call. I was just saying I could see the other side of the argument, but at the end of the day, it is the right call that they made.
Yeah. Sam, what are your thoughts on this?
I already said that it was definitely the right call. So moving beyond that, again, like you're all right about corporations. Obviously, this was still clearly the right call. This was the correct thing for them to do. I will caution that I don't think. I think more than ever we need to separate the idea of concepts and themes in fiction and media versus concept and themes happening in real life, because The Last of Us Part 2 is coming out in 18 days, and it's a post-pandemic world, all right? To taken to the extreme, obviously, in a different kind of pandemic, but post-pandemic all the same. You can't ignore that. It's just going to be what it is. Like, I fully expect the discourse around that game to be completely insufferable on all sides. But it is what it is. I wouldn't read too much into the idea of, oh, well, games have a lot of fighting and killing in them. Yeah, well, on that particular aspect, you're going to have to suck it up. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah. My particular thought, at least in terms of Sony, I'm not gonna say you're right that it is the right call to do. They should have canceled the event. That was the right call to do, but for an entirely different reason. It has to do only with media presence. Because let's do best case, worst case scenario. So if they decided to do what they did now, yeah, people are disappointed. People aren't happy with the fact that they moved it away. But some people were already like they were already going to get the game, or they were already going to get the console anyway. It didn't matter. So for them, they're not going to lose anybody over it. It's just a minor inconvenience. However, you have more to lose if you did show it. Because yeah, you get people who criticize you, and that's not the major concern. It's just the fact that you would look like you are taking attention away from a larger social problem that is getting attention. You would look like you're cannibalizing that thing. Or, even worse for them, people look at you and say, okay, cool, PlayStation 5, cool, it's good. Let's talk about something that matters now. Sony doesn't care about this stuff. I'm going to be honest, they don't care. As a corporation, they do not care. What they care about is sharing media limelight. They want their console reveal to be big and dramatic, and then it be talked about for the rest of the week. And if not longer. But if something like this is going on currently, they can't do that. It makes them look bad. It's like, okay, yeah, we announced it, but now it's not trending on Twitter anymore. Oh, this protest is trending on Twitter. Why would we bother? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I think the real thing is for them. They looked at it as, if we announce it now and we show it now, we're not going to get as much of media attention as long as if we waited to a better time to do it. I think that's the main deciding factor. And it sounds cold and calculating, but like I mentioned, corporations aren't people. They think about the bottom line and what's the best move. And that's the reason. So, again, I'm just skeptical.
It's difficult to be entertaining right now.
Yeah. Actually, in more popular news and more fun stuff, Sega has apparently woken from their slumber of post-Sonic the Hedgehog movie cocaine runs and decided, hey, we got something big to announce. Mike, I believe you were the first person to tell me about this. What's going on here with Sega?
So there's an article that was released on GameStop today at 7:30 a.m. Not GameStop, GameSpot. I apologize. Headline is Big Sega News Tease for This Week in Famitsu. Apparently, this news is not, according to ZhuGX on Twitter, this news is not the rumored Microsoft-Sega relationship that I feel like keeps coming up every year. Apparently, the rumor was not that Microsoft is going to buy Sega, which is the rumor that everybody likes to run with every once in a while. Apparently, the rumor initially was that Microsoft was going to work with Sega to help rebrand, market, and launch the Xbox Series X in Japan, which would make a lot of sense because Sega is a beloved Japanese company. Microsoft and Xbox historically have not had a very good footing in Japan, which is probably an understatement. It's been terrible for them there. So this would have helped them, but apparently that's not it. The article also links a tweet from a Dr. Serkan Toto from Kantang Games, saying something about, it should be noted that Japanese journalist teasing the scoop last week said it will be on the PS5 reveal level. So this was going to be a pretty big announcement on the same level as what the PS5 announcement was going to be on Thursday. Nobody really knows what it is. then that's kind of where we're at with it.
Yeah.
I thought when you talked about big Sega news, it was going to be that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie's got an official sequel.
I thought wasn't that already confirmed? I might have dreamed that.
I think that was confirmed already, though. I could have sworn I remember seeing that somewhere.
Nope, it only got officially confirmed this week.
Oh.
No other news. No other news about it. Just like official sequel coming. Well, what would you expect? It's the second highest grossing film of the year. That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, it's Bad Boys at number 1 with 426 million, and then Sonic with 300. That's worldwide, by the way.
But you know what? It was good, though. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. You know, it was a great hour and a half advert for Olive Garden.
Yes.
You know, who's gonna fund them next?
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Pizza Hut. Fun fact about Pizza Hut. So you know how in Demolition Man, Taco Bell won the franchise wars, and now every restaurant's a Taco Bell.
Right.
In the foreign markets where Taco Bell does not exist, it's Pizza Hut.
Well,
So in every foreign version of Demolition Man, they go to Pizza Hut won the franchise wars.
Are they not part of the same group or something? Because like in my town, they have Pizza Hut and Taco Bell as one company.
I think that might be why it's specifically Pizza Hut. But I think it's just that Mexican food isn't really that big in Europe.
Mm.
Because why would it be?
Yeah.
Like, it's not there. What do Italians got to eat? Well, they go to eat fucking Italian, you know?
Alright. So, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here?
Yeah, you know what? Really quickly, this is a weird thing to notice. Jimmy Fallon's his show's got a lot better in lockdown. It's just interesting. He's finally like learning how to be a good interviewer. It's just a weird little thing that I've noticed because he can't like feed off the energy of a crowd and go crazy and interrupt people and start laughing because he has to physically wait for someone to finish talking before he can respond. And it's just making his show a lot better, and he's actually getting a better caliber of interview from his guests and himself. And I'm glad. That was it.
Okay. That's random.
Random but fun. Thank you, James.
It's 2 a.m. This is what you get from me. I burned myself out earlier.
Alright, so we're going to wrap things up here, get about our lives, and move on. So first off, let's do our outros. James, you go first, sir, since it's 2 a.m. for you.
Hi everyone. The good people and the bad people can find me. I've just realised that's what I say every week, and I really should have phrased that differently this week. Everyone can find me at James_S Wilson on Twitter, James S Wilson with 2 L's on Instagram. Everyone be nice to each other. Black Lives Matter.
Alright, Mike.
Alright, guys, you can find me on Twitter at The Truth of Mike P, pretty much everywhere else at Mike P The Truth. You can also check out my stuff on Level 1 Gaming at lv1gaming.com.
I also write there. I forgot that I'm right there as well.
Alright. And Sam?
On Twitter at Samuel Tolbert, Tolbert. You can find what I write on Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore, and Black Lives Matter.
Alright. And I'm Anchorman V2. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter. I'm also on Level 1 Gaming as well. You can find me all over the place. Same tag and all that kind of junk as usual. Also Black Lives Matter. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Multiverse Show episode 162 for the greatest show on Mondays. We will see you guys